Good morning, class, and I would like to welcome you to this session, which is Unit 4 of our entrepreneurship course. My name is Dr. Fanuel Wunu, and I would like to take you through identification of business opportunities as an entrepreneur. As you know, we've covered in the last few weeks the topics such as entrepreneurship, what it means, and then we look at who the entrepreneur is, what are some of the traits or characteristics, how should entrepreneur behave, and what are some of the important elements or behavioral traits of entrepreneurs. We also look at the forces or reasons why people become entrepreneurs, what push people into entrepreneurship. We analyze how people become entrepreneurs, and one of the important things I remember we discussed were the core attributes and desirable attributes of entrepreneurs, and building on that, and then also the story of Colonel Alan Sanders of the KFC fame empowers us or make us really interested in what we can do even at young age or at old age as aspiring entrepreneurs. So in this lecture, I will take you through the processes of identifying business opportunities. So look at the following and see what business opportunities you can come up with. For example, the structure of the population and income in the country, Ghana, for example. So we're looking at population structure and income structure. The population structure basically talks about age groups, for example, the youthful population, the old age, the children, the young people. So there's various clusters tells us the population structure. In fact, we can also look at the clusters, looking at the urban areas, population, the density there, and the rural areas, peri-urbans. So all of these things could be analyzed. So sometimes, for example, you see that they may be selling something, or you want to offer a service or a product to the community. Then you can look at the population structure. What kind of people are in this country? What is the, are they more females or more males? Are there more youthful population or maybe old age? All these things help us to, so that you know what you could offer, because there are some products that you offer on sale that actually tailored towards a particular group of the population. Yeah, even food, people, old people may like certain kind of food than young people, and there are differences. So all these things are important. Then income level. So when we look at income levels, we are looking at, for example, those in lower income, those in middle income, those in upper income. So whatever you are trying to offer, it will depend whether the product can be sold to low income people or high income people. We call it affordability, for example. So these are some of the things we could look at. Then social issues in the economy, like are there increased incident of housebreaking? I could see, for example, in the last few weeks in 2024, there have been daylight robberies in Accra, for example, and this could mean that we may want to go into entrepreneurial ventures that are able to track people and maybe provide information to the police. That is really an important aspect of maybe video surveillance systems. This can be someone's business opportunity, and it could become a fortune enterprise. So we could look at that. There could also be look at whether people are moving from the rural areas to urban areas. If that's the case, then you may want to focus on things you want to provide in the urban areas. So it could be anything. There are people more having more income because they are having more jobs, maybe multiple jobs these days. So, and if people are like that, then they are likely to be burnout or getting tired. So people who are normally burnout or tired, what kind of products can we offer them so they can easily buy? So all these things, entrepreneurs look at them. Technological advances, we know currently we have uh, the internet, is helping us, e-commerce, even WhatsApp and Facebook, Twitter, and all these ones can help us to um, be able to produce goods and market them online, for example. And some of these services are for free. Once you have internet, you don't need to pay for anything you post on your WhatsApp status. So these are some of the things we can look at. And then government policies and regulations. If government brings policy that this should be done, that should be done. Like we even heard about one district, one factory under the President Akufo-Addo's government. No, then it gives us some. Oh, okay. Then we need to. What can I do? And now we are talking about 24-hour economy under the incoming government, President Mahama's government. So you can see, ask yourself as an entrepreneur. As I always tell students, don't say I am MPP or I'm NDC, for example. You don't take sides. Entrepreneurs are working in the economy. You only pray for peace and security and then work hard. Even if you are a card-bearing member of any party and your party is not in power, don't say that because of that I'm not going to take advantage of opportunities. Just look at what government is talking about and then see whether you can be able to capitalize on something and make some small gains. And that is really important for entrepreneurs. So let's look at the nature of business opportunity. But before then, what is an idea? So we'll move from business idea to an opportunity. We'll be looking at difference between ideas and opportunities. And remember, when we're dealing with creativity and innovation, we said creativity is something like a mental impression or a cognitive process more, where innovation rather is more of doing things, applying creative thoughts to produce something beneficial to society. The same way in idea and opportunity. Idea is also more of a mental impression, whilst opportunities are more of putting your innovative ideas into practice. So let's look at ideas. Idea is a mental impression of thought. Entrepreneurs, they have to convert their ideas into successful enterprises. So what are some of the things that help us to discover ideas? What others call sources of entrepreneur ideas? One is existing businesses. If there is any existing business, you can just look at, okay, this business, this is what they're doing, and you ask yourself, okay, maybe I can also do something similar, or based on that, maybe this business may need something. So can I supply them maybe inputs, or they are producing something, can I take it and market it for them? Right? So you can look at existing business and come out with yours. Franchises. Franchises are special rights given to you to produce certain goods in the same format, in the same taste, with the same quality as the originator. So for example, you know about McDonald's and KFC. We don't have McDonald's in Ghana at the moment. That's at 2024. So KFC is here. So the idea is that when you taste KFC in Accra, you want to taste KFC in Kumasi, you want to taste KFC in Cape Coast with the same taste and the same quality as you may even have in Houston, or you may have in Berlin, or anywhere else in the world. So franchises give these rights and they provide support to the franchisees or clients who want to buy into the franchise, and then they set up. So it's one of the easiest ways of starting your business if you have the financial and other resources that are required. Corporations. Corporations are sources of business ideas, like business environments, where if you are working for a particular business, it may be that some things may be missing. Maybe if you look at the procurement budget of your company, you may find out that they are buying this and that and that. That's a lot of money. So maybe you may even think of trying to supply your company, or leaving your company, starting something new so you could supply. So these are some of the ways we can look at that. Then customers. Your customers can give you business ideas about what they think about your product or what they feel better. So sometimes when they come, it's okay, we don't like this again or something, or this one we like but we want it like this. They give you ideas to be able to either modify or change business completely. Competitors. Sometimes we may be tempted to say that competitors are our enemies, but if a business person is trying to analyze competitors, it is very important for you to look at competitors as partners in disguise, because our partners, are able to provide us insights. Now, how do we see competitors as partners? Competitors make some moves. They make moves in the market. They may provide new products. They may introduce some promotional strategies. All these things they may do just to instigate a competition or make it tough for their counterparts to get the market not easy at all. But if you are a very positive thinking business person, then you look at your competitors as strengths, because when they do something, they may even invest in research to come up with something, and then you can easily just what someone would say, to copy, yeah, copycat. Yeah, so you have to look at what they're doing. Otherwise, if they are moving faster than you and you are not really doing fast enough, you may be out of business. Then distributors, wholesalers, and retailers, these are people who provide services to you along the value chain. So you may want to talk to them regularly to get feedback from either customers or themselves. They may have something to tell you. Okay, and then we have networking. When you talk to people at conferences, workshops, wherever in the world, so that's about networking. Then you also can also talk about consulting. So you can go to experts who are very good in business strategies. They can give you ideas about what is probably going to sell. Researchers and other people could give you some ideas. Former employees, people who have left your organization, may see something out there that may want to tell you, oh, come on, you can do this and get business. So all these people or forces help you to get business ideas. Now let's look at what an opportunity is. So what is an opportunity? So opportunities or an opportunity is a favorable set of circumstances that create a need for a new good service or business, according to Barringer and Ireland 2016 publication. Now, anything that has value and is anchored in a good service or adds value to end user is what we call an opportunity. Or you can also say opportunities are anything that um, or any ideas that we are able to transform into a good or service for the end user to have use for it. Because ideas are quite without number, but only a few are able to be converted into opportunities when they are subjected to a lot of tests, and then we can come out with the idea, okay, this is an opportunity that can be transformed into something that will benefit the client or the customer. So opportunities are created or built using ideas and entrepreneurial creativity. So entrepreneurial creativity uh, uh, help us to transform our ideas into opportunities. So that's why we did already creativity and innovation. So now you don't have to leave the creativity innovation behind. You have to still bring it to bear here. That because you identify opportunities, you have to definitely think about um, those that are innovative and useful. Let's look at some essential qualities of an opportunity. One, an opportunity must be attractive. When we say an opportunity is attractive, it means that to the business person, it's not about the makeup or the beauty, but I mean, an attractive opportunity only means that it is able to generate some good revenues that will make the business profitable. So if there is um, a business that is not attractive to the customer, is not likely to take on that business. So attractiveness is quite really important. So that's attractiveness. Then timeliness. A business opportunity must be timely because um, it must come at the time that your target customers need the product or service. So it must always be on time. For example, remember we had COVID and we're selling nose masks or call them face masks, and people were buying. Now, if you go and sell it, no one's going to buy. If you only provide your lunch after maybe 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. in the afternoon, you are not going to have customers. It's not because people don't like your food, it's because it's not timely. So every business, you have to look at the times, whether it's the time of the day or the time in seasons that we are supposed to do. Some, if you want to go into farming business in Africa, for example, you may want to look at the rainy season, all right, and even it's out there, you have to look at summer. So it depends. So everything that you want to do, look at the time and see whether it is the right time to do it. And then an opportunity must be durable. When we say it is durable, it means that the it is something that can stay long. In business, there's something we call the going concern concept. In business, going concern means that when you start a business, you're not expecting the business to end anytime soon. You want the business to continue even beyond your generation. So you want the business, you want an opportunity that is able to provide revenues and income for a long time. I mean, probably forever. That is what you may be thinking. So we look at business like that. Then it should also have markets, right? And when we say it should have markets, for example, it means that there are people who are willing to buy it, right? And business, the fourth one is that it should be anchored in a product or service that creates value for the customer, for example, the buyer. So if you have a business that you think it's good, it's durable, it's timely, it's attractive, but you cannot anchor into the product or something that the customer can appreciate and buy, then it's difficult to continue. So that's the last test before you proceed to starting a business opportunity and putting it into practice. What are some of the steps in developing successful business ideas into an opportunity? First one is to recognize the opportunity. Then to recognize the opportunity means that you should be able to see that, oh, this is an opportunity, of course, to recognize this. Then you develop a business model, and after you develop the business model, then you go to feasibility analysis, and after feasibility analysis, you write the business plan, and after business plan, you launch the venture. So all these are really important in business, because if there's a business opportunity that you have recognized and you cannot develop a business model for it, then it's difficult. What is a business model? It is just trying to explain how you make money in your business. That's a business model. So all businesses are able to ensure that we have a model that creates value, and a model that after the value is created, it generates income, because businesses rely on their income and revenues to survive and to grow. So it will be very important that you create that business model. Then feasibility analysis is to check whether what you are really thinking is possible in terms of cost. Like, do you have the resources financially? Do you have the people, for example? This thing I want to do, can I even really transform it into a product? That's about technical feasibility, for example. The amount of money I'm going to invest, will it result in a revenue that I can pay back, maybe loans or investment, or my savings that I've invested in this business? So all these things will have to be done at the feasibility analysis stage. Then the business plan is putting all your business ideas and opportunity recognition, the business model, and all other important aspects of your business into writing. Then you launch the venture after you've done a business plan. Sometimes people launch venture before they even come to writing a business plan and all that. It happens sometimes. It's not entirely a bad thing, even though we may always think of a logical flow, but sometimes, yeah, it may not always flow exactly in this order, but this is a recommended order for everybody, that they must flow from point one until we get to launching the venture. So let's look at the forces that create business opportunities. One is changing trends. Two, chaos, confusion, or inconsistencies. Three, knowledge and information gaps. And yeah, look at other vacuums. So the changing trends, you're looking at what are some of the things that people are buying, like fashion. Fashion is moving from this point to that point. You need to understand, people now buying more healthy food than junk food, for example. People now buying more long sleeves, or that maybe sometime the trend could be seasons of the year. Maybe sometime summer jackets may be different from winter jackets. And yeah, what you need during Hamatan in Ghana, for example, will be different from what you need in winter, or yeah, in spring. So all these things they differ from time to time and from geographical area. So you have to look at. Then sometimes chaos and confusion. With the chaos and confusion, some things may be wrong in society, but you will see it as a business opportunity. For example, I mentioned COVID earlier. I didn't think of COVID. COVID at that time, COVID created a lot of billionaires around the world. Those who took advantage of the opportunities that came with it. But the rest of the world were lamenting whilst people were making money, right? So that's it about COVID and other things that will happen in society. Yeah. Then knowledge and information gap. What you know and can do that other people don't know and cannot do is a gap that is in the market that you can capitalize on. Then any other vacuum you find in the market or anything that you see that people may need that you can provide that others don't have, you go ahead and capitalize on. So we mentioned feasibility analysis earlier. Let's look at some other points in feasibility analysis. So feasibility analysis, we look at the process of evaluating a business idea to determine its viability, whether it is viable or not viable. Is this something that we can actually work on? This is sometimes you may, for example, Fresh Lab, a lady and a gentleman may meet themselves and say, "Oh, wow, I love you." The other person will say, "I also love you." Now, it's that's the beginning. It does not necessarily mean that you will the two of you when you get married you will make great couples. So there will be time that you now begin to like ask yourself about taste preferences, lifestyle, and all those things. Yeah, beliefs may matter in marriage. So the same way, business opportunities before you agree that this is a good business opportunity, you must go through all these stages to be sure. Not love at first sight is good, but sustainable love does not end at first sight. You need to go beyond to making sure that you are quite compatible in so many things. So is this business, are you able to capitalize on it? Are you able to actually pursue it? There are some people who have great business ideas, but they never get the resources to even start it. That does not make them entrepreneurs. They are just at the level of dreamers. So for entrepreneur to be able to proceed, you must ensure that you check the viability. And why do we need these feasibility studies? Helps you to determine if an opportunity is worth pursuing. You may need about 10 million cedis to pursue a particular venture. You ask yourself, is it worth it? Will I get that much back? All right, but you will never know how much you need to start unless you do a financial or economic feasibility, and that is really important for everybody to understand that we need a feasibility to see whether we really are in for this or not. Feasibility also helps to screen ideas before we commit resources. So you don't just start spending on an idea that comes into your mind. What if it doesn't work? So you need to do some analysis, talk to people, evaluate it, put some paper, do what if analysis, all these things. Then before you come out, okay, yeah, it's something that I really want to go. It's like courting and dating for some time before you say yes I do. That's basically, so you screen each other, you understand each other. The same with businesses, should not be just jumping out of the vacuum and then quickly you go and invest all your savings in it. What if it doesn't work? So you need to find out a bit more about it. Cool. What is the role of feasibility? This looks like a very winding diagram, but I'll just simplify it for you. So you may have a proposed business venture, all right, and that business venture you are going to spend time and your resources necessary to move it forward with a business idea, and this depends largely on four major areas, let me put it that way, four major areas of feasibility analysis. One is the product feasibility, whether we can be able to put our product into our business idea, into products that people can buy. So it just doesn't end up dreaming, right? Because there are some things we wish we do, but it cannot be transformed into a product or service. Then it is going to be difficult to start a business there in the first place. Industry or market feasibility talks about, how many people are there for us to be able to capitalize on for them to buy. If you don't have market for your product, if the industry is not favorable, if there are big players there and you are just starting, you may have issues. So you have to work. But the same way, maybe the market is quite good and not many people are there, then it looks like a good one. Then organizational feasibility, how you're going to put your resources and facilities and arrangements in place for you to be able to get a business. Entrepreneurs don't do everything by themselves. They need people around them. They need managers. Sometimes they need financial experts. They need lawyers. They need all these experts to help them. And that's why you need to make sure will you get all the people you need. and the facilities that you need to start the business, for example. Then finally, you go for financial feasibility. That talks about money. Yeah, money matters. You definitely need money. There are many people who died with their business ideas because of this particular aspect. Because if you don't have the money to start it, you may not be able to start it. I mean, it doesn't mean you need a fortune to start every business, some little, but many of the businesses that you find around, you need some good money to be able to make good business. So it is important to find out whether the monies that you need, you have it, and whether the monies you invest in it, you are able to get it back within a reasonable time and make profits. These are the things, major things we discuss here under financial feasibility. So what do you do after you have done all this feasibility? If you say yes, 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 you all of them are proving positive, then you go ahead and start the business because it shows that the business is positive. But if you say no to one or any one or more of these, then you may want to drop it or rethink the idea and analyze it again, basically. So the fact that you say no, it means that to one of them doesn't mean that you have to completely discard it, but you ask yourself, why not? If the issue is about, let's say, a technical aspect that we don't have in Ghana for that product to take place, can we get expatriates to help? These are some of the things you need to find out and analyze, and if you can actually pay this expatriate, also you analyze them, then you see whether you can actually go forward, or if you just cannot afford it, then you drop it and think about something else. So these are the 4 areas of feasibility analysis. Let's look at the product feasibility, which involves you analyzing the overall appeal of your product to potential customers using concept and usability testing. So we'll look at concept and usability testing soon. But what are we talking about here? How does your product really work well for your target market, the people you want to sell the product to? And this product feasibility help us to get the product right the first time. So you are going to do everything possible that people like your product. So you don't produce something, it's not working, you spend millions to produce a thing, and then later you realize that, oh, people don't like it, they will prefer it the other way around. Then you are not in business, you are going to waste resources. So you need to make sure you do this, you go through this stage, then you can be able to get it the first time. Avoid any obvious flaws in the product design. The moment you are able to go through this process, for example, checking with your customers whether like a prototype, whether the prototype is good. So you develop a sample, a prototype, and show it to them, they can make inputs, then you know that the design has problem or not, then you can improve on it before you launch the product finally. Then it also helps you to get additional insights into our products, like, okay, they can give you, okay, this one, what if you combine this, what if you remove this, what if you increase this? So they will be your customers can have first-hand information about the product and provide input that will help you to get it done properly. Yes, and you can also develop an early adopter community, people who will be willing to buy the product. That is, how many people are willing to buy this product? And once you share your ideas with them and they are able to make input, you share your prototype with them, they're able to make input, they feel being part of the product development, and they are likely to be those who will be ambassadors for the product. So it's really important to go through this process. And of course, you use your time and capital more efficiently, because you may not be wasting resources if you go through this process. But if you don't go through this process, you may end up spending a lot of money that may not be very that may not result in very good product outcome. Then we have concept testing. So as part of product feasibility, you test the concept. That is basically the idea at the idea stage. It is normally not tangible. There's nothing tangible at the concept testing. It is basically on paper or in the mind, talking to people about it, and you want to gauge their interest, their ability. That, for example, if I produce this kind of thing, would you like it? So you are just asking people the concept in your mind. It can be done by soliciting ideas through questionnaires, or even sometimes in-depth interviews, talking to people, get their opinion about things, and well, you may come up with the features of the good or services, and then you ask them about it. If they like it, otherwise they may ask for some modification. You can even ask about the pricing, how much can they afford, where do you want to buy? Do you want to buy online? Do you want this thing close to you in your neighborhood, or can it be in the regional center? You can always go and buy all these things. You can ask them. That's about concept testing. Then we come to what we call usability testing. That is now when the product is developed. So when it passes through the concept testing stage and it is positive, you go to usability testing. You develop a prototype, share it to a few first-time users, and ask them to give their opinion. So based on that, you know whether to move or not. Okay, and they can tell you about the product's ease of use, whether it is really good or it's difficult to even use it. Like even a car, people can drive and say, "Oh no, this one, the driving is difficult or it's too complicated and all that." They can help you some simplify your product offer, and yeah, it also helps to uh, gauge the perception of usage experience from your customers. Other names for usability testing are beta tests, user test, or field trial. All these can be synonyms for usability testing in entrepreneurship. So a prototype basically is an original or functional product that we give to a potential customer to use and see whether it is fine or not. So something that is more tangible at this point. Even if it's a service that you cannot put in a tangible form, at least you can provide the service for them to enjoy the service and see whether it is enjoyable or not enjoyable. Then that is about product feasibility. Let's look at the market feasibility. Market feasibility involves looking at the overall appeal of the market. When we talk about market, we're not necessarily looking at a physical place where people buy and sell, but the mechanism that brings buyers and sellers together. So you look at one, industry attractiveness, whether the industry is attractive. You look at the market timeliness, whether the market is very timely, identification of the niche. And so let's look at the first one there, like industry attractiveness. Industry attractiveness, look at how many people are there. Okay, looking at the timeliness, whether you are able to do that now or it is too late to do that. Business identification of the niche, which group in the market is your main target. All right. So how do we measure industry attractiveness? It could be measured in so many forms. Some of them include the size of the market, the growth rate, maturity level, industry trends, profit margins, profitability, and many others. So, for example, I'll explain about three of them now. The size of the market, look at how many people are in the market. Maybe about 10,000 people are able to buy. That is good. Even someone may have 5 million people, which is even much better. So it depends on what we are talking about. Then the profit margins. This product, when we offer it, are we able to make good profit margins or is just very small? Normally, products with high profit margins attract more entrepreneurs than compared to those with lower profit margins. Then threats, like for example, how many big boys or ladies are in the town trying to swindle the thing. When I talk about boys or girls, like we're looking at the how many entrepreneurs or big businesses that are there. Okay, for example, in Ghana, if you want to get into the telecom industry, you'll be likely to grapple with the big boys like MTN, Telecel, and AT. These are well-established companies, and for you to penetrate and the market and become successful, you may have to to contend with all these threats. So these are some of the things we look at before we proceed with our businesses. Then, when we talk about the market timeliness, we are looking at whether you are offering the product at the right time. There can be an improved product or a new product depending on the stage of the market you are in. At the beginning, the product is very good, but at the point, you may see that you may need to improve on it, right? So the timeliness issue goes with the life cycle of the product, for example, that at the um, maturity stage, you may want to improve it, add new features, right? Or take some complicated features out, make it more simpler, and all those things. And sometimes you may just have to discard the current and bring a new product entirely if you realize that this is not, like for example, moving from typewriters to computers, right? No matter how you modify a typewriter in recent times, I don't know how many people want to buy. So you may need to sometimes introduce new product that perform the same or similar function but completely new product because the current one may be getting out of date or obsolete. So for market timeliness, we have what we call the first mover and second mover advantages. So first mover advantages are those who enter the market for the very first time. Okay, like someone will tell you, my first love. People never forget their first love, that kind of thing. So the same way in business too, those who start a particular business for the first time, their name may be established in the minds of customers as the pioneers in that business, and they may always want to come back to that product. Then we have second mover advantages. These are people who come to the market after the first movers have already entered. So they they may learn from the mistakes of the first movers, and yeah, they may have to invest low. For example, if you imagine a new site where people are building, the first person who goes will have to spend a lot of time, money to develop the road, maybe even utility network, yeah, and all that to the area. The new people who have come to that area, they may not have to construct new roads because they may all use the same road. So this the first movers would uh, set the industry standard. They may determine where the road passes. They may determine what is in the market. They develop a brand image that is printed in the mind of customers. Then they would market power. For example, if I'm the one who is the first mover and I develop the road, I could design it anyway, and I will always say that this road I did it, that kind of thing. So the first movers may get the biggest share of the market if they play their cards well, because it becomes like the first person to or the first business to enter or to be in the market. Then identify a market niche. A market niche is a portion of the larger market that you want to capitalize on. So the large market is there, but you may have a little one that is okay. Out of all the people, about 30 million people in Ghana, maybe only those with visual impairment, for example, would be interested in this kind of products. So you may develop something for them. So you are focusing your product to those who will need it most and who are willing and able to buy it. So that is what we call a niche. So you identify those people and sell to them. A niche that you identify must be large enough to support the proposed business. Not only one or two people need that product. Otherwise, your business may not be able to survive. I don't know who will be able to survive a large scale business employing about 50 people to produce product for only one or two individuals. If they are institutional customers, fine, then they may buy a lot. But individuals may not buy certain things in large quantities every day to make your business good. So at least there should be quite a number there. We also look at small enough to avoid initial head-to-head competition with industry leaders, for example. So sometimes you want to create a niche such that you are not targeting the direct customers of your of the big players in the market. Otherwise, they will come after you. Yeah. Let's look at the organizational feasibility. That is basically how you determine whether the proposed business is sufficient. You sit down, do some analysis. You will have the management expertise. You have people who can manage the business, like managers for this kind of business. I want to start an airline business. You have people with expertise in managing airline business, for example. Organizational competence. People you have in the organization, the IT services that you have, all the tools you have, and things you need. Then also you need to look at the resource availability. Okay, do we have the adequate resources to be able to launch the business successfully? Okay, some businesses are really good. You may have the expertise and some level of competence, but if you don't have the resources to launch it, then you may get stuck. So you have to look at all this. Then, so looking at management, resource, and organizational competence, management look at who they are, their passion, whether they really like this business. Beyond competence is also passion for business. There are people who are good, but they may not want to, do certain things. So you have to make sure you take charge, and then make sure you get people who are passionate about the business. Okay, and yeah, you also need to get to talk about technical skills, and all these things help us to work with the feasibility of the organization. Let's look at the financial feasibility then. Yeah, the money we require, or resources, the funds that we require, do we have it? How are other businesses in similar industry, or in the same industry, how are they faring? Are they really making money, or are they bankrupt? You can be checking to see whether it is really good. The overall financial attractiveness of the proposed venture, that is, how much am I putting in, how much am I getting back? Is the profit margin really good or not? Then you can be able to check. Right. So you need to look at how much capital do I need to start the business, and do I have it? or where will I get it? All these things come into the feasibility. If you can have it somewhere, maybe you don't have it, or maybe you have some, you need to get some. You check all this. Then financial performance of similar businesses, you need to compare potential financial performance. If you are entering a telecom industry, check other telecom guys whether they are making profit or not, right? So you look at the cost benefit analysis as the last portion of financial feasibility you want to discuss. So these are the things you consider in the feasibility analysis. And also, you look at the amount of time required to earn a return. Maybe you put in your 10,000 cedis today. When are you going to get your 10,000 back? In business, we call it a payback period. For example, will I get it back within 2 years or 3 weeks? The shorter the time, the better for business, so you can be able to get your money back and reinvest. Okay, then the risk assumed in launching the business. Is it very risky? Is it something that can easily collapse? Are there issues in the industry? All these things you need to ask and then find solution to them. There existing alternatives for money to be invested. So if I don't invest this money here, is there no other place I can invest the money and make even much better from it? So these are things you find out, right? What economists call the opportunity cost of investing your money in one particular venture. Then the existing alternatives for the money to be invested has been spoken about. The last one there to talk about is the existing alternatives for entrepreneurs' time and effort. So you see, it is not only money and other resources you are investing, your time and your effort, your energy. Is it worth it? Will I get something good in return, or should I go and do something different? So all these things you check, and then this is how you analyze your business opportunities. So to summarize, today we have looked at the business opportunities and how to identify them. Look at how ideas can be converted into business opportunities, and we're looking at how opportunities come up and how to analyze and make sure that we conduct feasibility analysis before they do the business. For every entrepreneur, feasibility analysis is very key. Sometimes you may not have it so easy, and getting all the figures to say, okay, this is feasible, this is feasible. Sometimes some may not be clear, but entrepreneurs need to take risk. Once you have some calculations and initial signs are showing good, please go ahead, start a business, but continue to conduct feasibility. Feasibility is done not only at the beginning, but even as the business is still ongoing, be checking to see whether you can do it. And I hope that will make you a very good entrepreneur. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and enjoy the rest of the session in the coming day. Thank you very much. This is Dr. Fano Bunu, and I wish you well. Bye-bye.